to help students understand the importance of branding as early as possible in their studies. Why? Well, there are a few reasons. Many of you are going to start looking for internships or summer jobs. And one of the most important reasons is your portfolio and resume needs to look professional. Part of that professionalism comes from how you are branding and representing yourself. So what is branding exactly? Well, let me start with an example to kind of help explain what branding is. Now, I have a feeling that somebody knows what company this little box with the bow actually represents. So if you know the name of the company, go ahead and shout it out. If you said Tiffany's & Company, you are correct. So branding definitely includes a recognizable visual cue of some kind. And so when I say visual, I'm talking about some of the basic elements and maybe even principles of design. So visual aspects. Think of lines, shapes, forms, colors, the values, the textures, and even some of the spacing of the visual elements that you've seen in other products and other companies. So in this case, Tiffany's, they chose to use the element of this color, and it's a unique color to represent themselves. I mean, this hue of teal definitely stands out in today's world. Not many companies are using this color. And another element that they're using is the symbol of a box. That's a shape, and so is a white bow, honestly. Now, is this their logo? No. They actually have a couple different logos, which we're going to get more into logos in another video, but their packaging of their product has become a part of their visual brand, or what many refer to as visual identity. So as you can see, the visual identity is how to use imagery, colors, the layout, the use of space, and even the typography, which is a fancy word for fonts, to help others perceive you in a certain way. It helps to showcase what you're known for. So places your visual identity can display include a logo, graphic letterheads, even the way that your portfolio is laid out, your website, or any media that you're choosing to use, be it social media, something that people get on their phones, tablets, again, website for computer screens. You know, even the font style that you choose can be part of your visual branding, and you can definitely see that each one of these fonts evokes different thoughts and feelings as to who that person might be. Now, I think the visual aspects of branding are the easiest to wrap your brain around, so let's talk a little bit about the second half of branding, which is essentially your reputation. What is a reputation? I always think of the movie The Breakfast Club from the 80s. I know most of you have probably never seen and maybe never heard of this movie because I'm old as dirt, but back in high school, we all have perceptions as to who the nerd was, who the jock was. What was the bad boy all about? How about the weirdo? Or even the preppy? So reputation is the beliefs or opinions that people have of you, regardless if it's true or not. So I want you guys to think back to high school. What kind of person were you? What did others think of you? How would they describe you? And really think about that. I mean, what kind of student were you? What kind of friend were you? How are you thought of by your classmates? How are you thought of by your teachers? So honestly, people's reputations, it can differ depending on who you're talking to and even the context that you're talking about them. Now in business, your reputation is the public perception of how good or bad your company is and its products. So does your company have a reputation for putting out high quality goods? Or is your company known for treating employees badly? So a reputation can be good or bad for several different reasons. So when you hear Tiffany's, what do you think about this company's reputation? Is it good or bad? How do you perceive them? Let's pause the video and have a discussion because I want to hear what you all think of when you hear Tiffany's. So many people think diamonds, prestige, decadence, and elegance. Most people that I know, if they got jewelry from Tiffany's, they would know they had a really valued and exclusive piece of jewelry. Did you hear all those descriptive words? Prestige, decadence, elegance, valued, and exclusive. Those are really great descriptive words, and these are all words that the company has worked very hard to market into their business. Tiffany's is known for really high quality jewelry, and people who are shopping for diamonds, many customers find that a ring from Tiffany's to be highly valued because of their reputation, which derives from how customers describe and value their products or services. So when the clients see this box or their logo, their reputation precedes them. They don't have to work so hard to sell their product because it's already sold. So like I said earlier, not all reputations are created equally. So here is a few logos of companies. Let's pause the video and have a discussion to see if you know, number one, whose company the logos are, and if you can explain their reputations and how it's preceding those companies. So as you can see, the reputation of a company helps a client or customer determine what kinds of goods or services they will receive, as well as the quality of goods or services they will receive. Now, I've been talking about branding in terms of companies, but professionals themselves can also brand themselves. It has to do with how well they represent themselves, their values, their mission, what they can do, and the goals or visions that they have for the future. Sometimes just looking and acting the part will project the kind of designer that you are. So if you look casual, you project that you may be more lax in important things like meeting deadlines or handling money or completing a professional job. But if you look professional, people will be more trustworthy of you with important tasks and how seriously you're approaching their wants and needs. So a designer must always be mindful of how they dress and conduct themselves, because even though it may or may not be true, how you look can project what you do and how you do it. It reflects your values and confidence. So the bottom line is, when you see these two people, which one would you hire to complete a project that's worth $50,000? Like $50,000 that you saved up, you scrimped, you saved, you worked really hard to remodel like your kitchen. And you had your choice between these two. Just looking at them, who would you hire? So being a professional can also mean that you start thinking of how to brand the things that you use daily. You continue to add to your reputation by the way that you represent your advertising, again, your website or organization, the way that your logo looks, even how your contracts look and how organized your financial books look. I'm sure that you could talk to a few accountants out in the world who could tell you who their stellar clients are and who aren't, just based on the organization of their financial sheets. Even how organized or polished their final projects are can really reflect on the reputation of the professional. This also includes how you're displaying your final project. So a lot of times my students are going to hear it's not necessarily just what you design, but it's how you present it that matters as well. Everything that you do or create, even if it doesn't seem important, should be done professionally because it does reflect on you. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at 3 designers, and we're going to see if we can make some theories as to what their design values might be based on their profile pictures as well as their logos. Because I don't want this video to go on and on, I'm going to pause the video and have a class discussion with my class. But for those of you who are not in my class, I want you to look at the following 3 professionals. Look at their pictures, how they're representing themselves in their pictures, look at their backgrounds, and then also look at their logos. And I want you to ask yourselves the following questions. What is their branding? What kind of designer are they? What styles are they designing with? What would their projects look like? And then if you can, visit their websites and look at their completed project portfolios and see if you can start to understand not only the visual identity of the designer, but also their reputation. So here is the first designer. Here is the second designer. And here is the third designer. What I think is cool is when you look at the people and then you look at their projects and then you put their logo next to them, I mean, it all totally fits. They found their branding and it works well for them. It speaks to them. And that's what I want for each of you. Now, you all may be students and may not even be wanting to think professionally at this point, but I encourage you to leave behind the brand of the student and start embracing yourselves as junior designers. Ooh, that sounds so official, y'all. Junior designers. What does that even mean? What's the difference between the brand of the student and the brand of the junior designer? Let's have a discussion as to what the differences may be. And so for those of you not in my class, I really want you to think about and even list what differences you might see between a typical college student and that of a junior designer. How might you change the way that you approach homework, classes, projects, or deadlines if you think of yourself more as a junior designer and less of being a student? Now that you have a better understanding of branding, I want to see each of you really embrace who you are and who you want to be. So we're going to start branding your image by designing a logo that you will use to represent yourself as a junior designer from now until you graduate. Now there's several types of logos and I'm going to dive into that in the next video, but for now, we need to start formulating a plan for your own branding. So I suggest starting this journey by taking a personal inventory of who you are, what you like, what you believe in. So list out things that, like what interests you. What hobbies do you have? What's your strengths, your weaknesses, your goals? What are your core principles? What do you value in life? What do you care about? What don't you? So for my class, we have a worksheet that you're going to fill out where you can actually start getting all of your insights out of your head and onto paper. The idea is that once it's out on paper, you can more easily assess and evaluate the things that you wrote down to help you start formulating a plan towards your own visual identity and the reputation that you want to build. Now, as you're starting this journey, you definitely want to make sure that you're thinking about a brand that is true to you, true to what you will deliver to clients, and true to the kind of design that you are going to want to do. And that does come in setting some goals for yourself, which if you haven't done that yet as a college student, now is the perfect time to start looking at what do I want from this degree? What do I want to come out of college with and bring to the real world of design? Now, in completing this personal inventory, there are some things I want you to keep in mind. Don't just list the what's, also list the why. So for instance, there's going to be a question of what is your favorite color? Don't just list red and keep going. You just listed the what, but you haven't listed the why. So it's really important for me to see why. So answers I'm looking for are going to be much more thorough, like red is my favorite color because it's powerful, it turns heads, it's bright, and it makes a statement. I want to be the kind of designer who designs bright statement-making spaces. Wow, that says a lot about the kind of reputation that you're trying to build. Do you see how that's much more powerful than just red? So be sure to explain why you chose your answers in this worksheet you're about to fill out. A good designer should always know the reason for their choices beyond, I just do, or because it's pretty, or I like it. Design with purpose and evidence, and that includes designing your future. So in closing, and in the next video, I'm going to talk about the different types of logos that there are, so that once your inventory is complete and you have assessed and evaluated what you put into that worksheet, you can properly begin formulating and exploring several types of logos to design one that will work best for you. Bottom line is, you want to develop a branding strategy that is honest and true to who you are and what you are going to deliver to your customers. It's okay if you don't know what this is yet, okay? Like, you're fresh into college, you might not know yet. And that's the cool thing about branding, is that it can evolve over time, just like design does. So for right now, I don't want you to worry too much. I just want you to have fun with this assignment, get to know yourself, and let's see what you come up with.